Gaseous exchange in human. Humans and all mammals are homeotherms, meaning they are warm-blooded. Therefore, by possessing a high metabolic rate, they consume a large amount of energy to maintain their body temperature at a constant level, which in humans is 36.8 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Thus, the human respiratory system is efficient for the ready exchange of gases. The respiratory system of humans is divided into two main parts, the air passageways and the lungs. The air passageways and lungs. Air passageways. The air passageways of humans consist of nostrils, nasal cavities, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveolar ducts. The external openings of nasal cavities are called nostrils. The nasal cavity is subdivided into three passageways by the projection of bones from the wall of the internal nose. The nasal cavities are lined with hairs and a mucous membrane of ciliated epithelium, which traps foreign dust particles, thus filtering the air. It also moistens the dry air and brings the air temperature near to body temperature. The nasal cavities lead into the muscular pharynx through two internal nostrils. It is a common passage for both air and food. The air is passed from the pharynx into the larynx or sound box. The larynx is a cartilaginous structure situated above the trachea, and its cavity is called the glottis. One of the cartilages, known as the epiglottis, is controlled by muscles and serves as a lid with a hinge-like action. The epiglottis automatically covers the opening of the larynx during the act of swallowing to prevent the entry of food or liquids into the larynx. The glottis contains two pairs of fibrous bands known as vocal cords. Their vibration during expiration produces voice. The trachea is a tubular structure placed ventral to the esophagus and extends to the chest cavity, where it is divided into the right and left bronchi, each leading to the lung on its side. The wall of the trachea is membranous and ciliated, secreting mucus that helps to filter, moisten, and warm the incoming air. The trachea is supported by a series of C-shaped cartilaginous rings, about 16 to 22 rings in adults, which prevent the trachea from blocking by kinking any time the neck bends during movement. It also prevents collapsing and provides an open passageway for the air to pass. Each bronchus, when entering the lung, divides and subdivides progressively into smaller bronchi, which are cartilaginous. Each smaller bronchus divides to form small branches known as bronchioles, which have a diameter of 1 millimeter, are made up of circular, involuntary smooth muscles, and lack cartilaginous rings. The bronchioles end in fine, thin-walled tubules called alveolar ducts, which end in tiny, hollow bag-like structures called air sacs or alveoli. The alveolus is the functional unit of the lungs where the exchange of gases takes place. They are surrounded by blood capillaries of pulmonary arteries, which carry deoxygenated blood from the right side of the heart, that is, from the right ventricle. Lungs are paired and located in the chest cavity, one on either side of the heart. These are extended from the base of the neck to the diaphragm. Both lungs are reddish yellow in color, conical in shape. The right lung is broader than the left lung, while the left lung is 2.54 centimeters longer than the right lung. Each lung is enclosed in a double membrane called pleura. There is a fluid named pleural fluid between the two pleural membranes, which protects the lungs from friction during its contraction and expansion. Breathing is a physical process which helps in gaseous exchange between lungs and external environment. It consists of two phases, inspiration or inhalation, and expiration or exhalation. Adult humans normally, at rest, breathe 15 to 20 times per minute. It increases during hard work and exertion to about 30 to 40 times per minute. The rate and depth of breathing is controlled by the medulla of the brain, which is sensitive to the concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood. The intake of fresh air into the lungs is called inspiration. During inspiration, the space inside the chest cavity is increased by two ways. 1. The muscles of the diaphragm contract, thus it becomes flat rather than dome-shaped, and the chest cavity is increased. 2. The intercostal muscles, or muscles around the ribs, contract, thus pulling the ribs upward, forward, and outward. The explained mechanism increases the volume of the chest cavity. The pressure from the lungs is released and they expand. The atmospheric air rushes into the lungs through the air passageways. The expelling or removal of stale or deoxygenated air from the lungs is called expiration. During expiration, the volume of the thorax decreases by two ways. 1. The muscles of the diaphragm relax, thus it again becomes dome-shaped. 2. The intercostal muscles relax, thus the ribs again pull downwards and inwards. The chest cavity decreases, thus pressure on the lungs increases, which helps to expel the air out.